Hi, hello.
I'm going to call this budget hearing to order. We have a special board meeting tonight for the budget hearing from 5 to 5:30. I'm going to call it to order and ask for approval of the budget hearing agenda. Do I have a motion? Has the board had a chance to review the budget hearing agenda?
Yes, I make a motion. Wait a minute. What are you asking? I'm sorry.
Approve the budget hearing agenda.
Oh, to approve the agenda. Yes, I make a motion that we approve the budget agenda.
And
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we will move on to item C1, the public hearing on the budget hearing. And I'm going to turn it over to Sherry.
Sure. So first, thank you very much for giving us a chance to serve the community by putting a budget together. And we are not making any changes to the budget as it was presented to the budget committee. And we're keeping everything the same. Of course, as you already may know, budget law allows us to move up to 10% of our budget move between different funds. We may or may not need that, but at this point, we would love to keep everything the same as it was presented to you before.
Sure.
Okay. So do I move to the next one for the adoption?
No, that's not yet for that.
No, okay.
Question. I just need to understand, the rest of you probably do. It says local budget law allows for budget increases after adoption without limitation on amount. And then it says after budget adoption, budget increases of over 10% are in fund required to be published as supplemental budget. So can we go add to that or not?
Okay.
No, sorry.
Okay.
No, please.
Okay, so the first sentence, basically it says that as long as the board approves, there is no limit on how much we need to move. But the second portion is talking about if we need to move up to 10% of any budget increase or decrease by 10%, that is the ability reserved for the college to make those decisions without getting an approval. But I don't foresee anything happening anytime soon, at least. But that's kind of what is the
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Well, as part of the public hearing, we can take public comment. Do we have any public comment on the budget? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing and ask the board to deliberate on the budget. Do you have any comments, questions? No change.
Really?
All right. Are we ready for approval?
Well, we've got it scheduled later in the meeting, the official meeting. So we can close this meeting out, open another meeting.
Okay, all right.
I move that we approve, that we adjourn. A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so the hearing is adjourned. That was. There you go. So now the question is, do we need to wait until 5:30? Okay, all right. In that case, we will open the TBCC board meeting, call the meeting to order, acknowledge our guests, welcome everyone, and move right into the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Changes? No? Have you had a chance to review the May 6th meeting minutes? Yes. Okay, any questions or changes? All right, then we can move right into the personnel report. Kylie.
So it's been a busy 2 weeks for the facilities coordinator position that's been open for a while. We had a great applicant. and had 2 interviews last week, and they have accepted our conditional offer. And with a start date of 6/12, just a couple days before graduation. So Jonathan, Jason are happy about that.
No.
Yes. And for the healthcare program coordinator, Katie Summers, started on Tuesday, so she already went to our staff meeting and our barbecue and everything, so we're impressing her with our fun that we have here. So, she's been fantastic. We had a successful senior accountant interview. So that is, and we have a second one scheduled for next week. And they are local, and so we are very excited about that. And let's see, Dean of Instruction, they got it down from 18 applicants to the top 5, and all those interviews have been scheduled for Thursday and have been accepted. So excited to hear about that one. We had a nursing adjunct that we brought on who actually was an instructor of Tiffany Slover's. So that's a really nice addition to our nursing program. So she'll be working remotely. Let's see. Clinical adjunct, we're still have that open, but I think that Alex is working on that one to fill that. Business office clerk, we have part-time Adriana Contreras started on the 21st. She's been a great addition. And then business office payroll, we had a really good applicant candidate for that. So we had a first interview last week, and we have a second one tomorrow. Hoping to have someone in between payroll clerk and manager. So we'll see how that one goes.
That's a lot of exciting recruitment news.
Amazing how it comes in.
Yeah.
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 And therefore I jump on it. Putting my certificate.
You said that you're gonna have another interview on the senior accountant, but it also says that you made an offer. Was that not accepted or?
Yes, that was a different one. That was, and they were East Coast. So we're not quite sure, but then right after that, we had another person apply, so it was amazing.
Yeah, I had to bribe Kylie to push applications for other positions into my position, so that worked.
And in the May minutes, it said that there were 2 new positions for 2024-25, and one of them was the business office clerk. What was the other one?
Safety coordinator, and what was the other?
The
That
first day,
healthcare coordinator.
I mean,
Healthcare coordinator was already approved. What-
DEI director.
Yeah.
DEI director, the diversity and equity.
Oh.
Director.
And those will,
And safety coordinator.
July 1, next month. Or at least the safety coordinator, I think we have the DI director will be a bigger recruitment.
That's very encouraging. Yes, that's great. Okay. Anything else in the personnel report?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion
I second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. It's time for public comment. Available at the beginning of the meeting is an opportunity for the public to comment on any issue within the jurisdiction of the Tillamook Bay Community College Board of Education. The board chair will call on people who indicate they want to provide public comment. Do we have anyone tonight who'd like to make a public comment? Hearing none, we will move right into new business with A is adoption of the 2024-2025 budget.
The one that I was so
There you
excited
go.
about. So I don't want to repeat, but pretty much I have to say the same thing. We didn't make any changes after the budget committee approved our budget. And also they approved the tax, property tax that's going to be levied, and the comment about 10% moving between the funds and what the budget law allows. So I think we are presenting this for the board to hopefully approve and share us the budget.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions, comments on the budget? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the 2024-2025 budget. Approved.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All
I'll
right.
second. Oh, too late.
Delay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Thank you, Sherry, for your work on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all of the support.
Let us.
You're welcome.
We should also have the board make the appropriations and the levies as well, categorized.
Okay.
Taxes.
All right.
We have a resolution that has 3 items, the adopting the budget, but also approving the tax levy.
Okay. All right. And approving the tax levy, and is there more than that?
And making the appropriations.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve the tax levy and make appropriations.
I move that we approve and authorize the board chair to sign budget resolutions 2024-2025, number 1 through 3, and to adopt the 24-25 budget, make appropriations, and impose and categorize property taxes.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I second that.
Yeah, I had that all memorized.
Wow.
Nod.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to item C, board policy 6500, property and equipment. Oh, sorry, item D, budget appendices 2024 to 2025. Sure.
So this one is me cheating. Paul has done most of the work on this one, but I to present it. The position changes, corrections, additions recommended for the new fiscal year have been included in the budget document. A cost of living adjustment was approved by the board before the 4% increase is already included. The employer health insurance contribution was increased from 1342 to 1382. That was also, I remember that we had the approval and we have it in there as well. Plus a COLA of 3% cost of living adjustment. And also there are some changes on that were incorporated for 24-25, right? This is the correct year.
Correct.
Okay, so reduction of 6 years to 5 years, and I assume this is all about the faculty. Sorry, I need
You're fine.
right. So we and I think it has an increase to credit adjunct salary schedule. So that's something that we are going to bring our compensation more in par with the market. Elimination of one tier, the 23-24 tier from that pay schedule. All faculty move to next highest tier that they would fall into. And renumber of remaining tiers to be 1 to 5 instead of 2 to 6. Basically, we want that and that we made that change, and also 4% COLA for all the faculty.
If I could clarify something, yeah, so a typo in the policy appendix C1 there, that actually was 24-25 and it was 4% COLA, just so we catch that. Sorry about that, my mistake there. And just to kind of give a little context with the faculty adjustments, with the full-time faculty, they used to have several different columns based upon their degree and or amount of graduate work they had. And I think that there were 8 or 9 different columns they could do. We minimized that because what we found from the salary study was that for faculty that were minimally qualified or had the minimum qualifications, they actually were, I think 13% or 14% below our median comparators that we looked at before. So in line with what we did with the other employees, we brought all of our faculty to within 5% of that median comparator. Our faculty that had advanced degrees of PhDs and preferred qualifications were already compensated above the median. It was our minimally qualified, and that impacted, I think, about 4 or 5 faculty in bringing them up to median salaries or within 5% of median salaries. So we feel pretty good about that pay equity adjustment there. And then we made similar changes to the adjunct salary schedule that we made last year. We dropped the lowest tier, moved everybody up a tier so that they could advance more quickly to the top scale. And over the last 2 years, we've managed to increase the salaries of our adjunct faculty by 17%. And so we're still looking at trying to get more competitive, high quality adjunct faculty.
Yeah, we pay all the PERS, correct?
I'm sorry.
We
do.
pay all the PERS.
Yes, we do. We pay all the PERS for all of our employees.
How often do we do a compensation study?
I think that my memory is, and Rhoda might have, or Cheryl have, I know that one was done maybe right the year or two after Ross came, so maybe about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I think that they weren't real satisfied with the outcome of that. So I don't think that there was a lot of adjustments that were made as a result of that. We just did this one last year. We did it and implementing it over the course of this year and still have some more work to do in terms of making sure that our job descriptions are what they said. People are doing the work that our job descriptions say they are, and we'll give that another look over next year. That's our goal for next year. But I do think it would be reasonable once we have our job descriptions in good shape to think about at least an informal look at this maybe every 3 to 4 years, and then have a more formal look at it maybe every 6 to 7 years, just to make sure that we're not falling behind.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a good question, because I was thinking, for how long have we been behind the market if we're 17% capped?
Yeah, we with adjunct faculty in particular, we've been pretty low for a while, and over the past couple of years, it has cost us some adjunct faculties because of the ability to work more remote now. They can work for whomever, right, if they're teaching online, and so it's been more challenging. Although we have had a couple that we lost come back once we started making some major adjustments to the salary schedule. So I feel good about that, and we're making it's not where it needs to be yet, but we're stepping into it and committed to keep going. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if I may, as a former adjunct faculty, yes, we were way at the low bottom of the rung when I was doing it between 2011, 2016. And I'm so thrilled to hear that. Thank you so much, Paul, for giving a little bit more credence to the adjunct faculty, because many of them are very well qualified. And I'm glad you said something like 17%. Since when was that the increase of 17%?
Just over the last 3 years. So this year and next year will amount to 10% relative to last year. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's really important, because let's be honest, the majority of our teaching staff is adjunct.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, and they do good work, really good work.
Exactly.
You don't get a retroactive pay though.
Oh, darn. Come on.
Do we have anything else on the subject?
No, these are just these will become part of the adopted budget if they're approved.
Okay. All right, and I would entertain a motion to approve the budget appendices for 2024 to 2025.
I move we approve the budget appendices 24 through 25 with the correction for policy the C1, the cost of living adjustment for 23 that says 23-24 should have said 24-25. It should be 4%.
It's correct in the actual appendix. It's just the background information.
Okay.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item C, which is board policy 6500, property and equipment management. This is the second reading.
Thank you. Yeah, we have the second readings of a few different board policies here. I'm sorry, I missed something.
Way up.
Sorry, I said I can read now.
Congratulations.
Yes. Very good. Yeah, so we have second readings for these. The only changes that we've made over all of these board policies, I'll ask you to consider individually, but I'll just comment that each of them, we made no changes to them since the first reading, other than to correct, especially in BP 2100, some gender language, so that we had gender neutral language present in there. So we made those changes. I think there were a couple places where we replaced he, she's with theys. Apart from that, it remains the same. I did include a clean copy of what the new BP 2100 would be. We also included the marked up red line copy as well, but just for ease of read, that was there. So they're all, I think, pretty much the same as you saw before.
Okay. Do we have any questions? No? So we'll take these singly, yes. Start with board policy 6500. I would move, or rather entertain a motion to approve board policy 6500, property and equipment management.
I would like to approve 6500 by the board.
Thank you. We have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Reading none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Go on to D, Board Policy 2100, Board of Education Duties and Responsibilities. This is also a second reading. Is there anything we want to say about this? Please.
We should have in the, also associated with 6500, we do want to rescind the previous BP 209. So before we move on to the next lot here, if we did have an action to rescind the previous policy of 209, that would be good.
So moved.
Thank you. We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Is there anything that you want to say about 2100?
We will also want to rescind the previous BP 100 associated with this one, with the same motion. But other than that, there've been no changes other than to fix the language of gender.
Okay. Did we have any questions, comments about this policy? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve Board Policy 2100 and rescind Board Policy 100.
I make a motion to rescind 100 and approve
21.
I was
Yeah.
worried. I knew I was gonna mess up.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, and E is Board Policy 2715, Code of Ethics Standard of Practice. This is a second reading.
And this is a new policy, so there's nothing to rescind.
Nothing to rescind. Okay. Anything else you want to say about this one? Okay. Board, do we have any questions, comments?
Mm.
You've read it? Great. Entertain a motion to approve Board Policy 2715.
I make a motion to approve 2715, Code of Ethics, etc.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Motion passes. Thank you. All right, item F is election of board officers. At this meeting, we need to elect a chair for the coming year and a vice chair. Andrea and I discussed it. Unless something has changed, we're both willing to continue in these roles, but also we're happy to entertain a discussion if anyone would like to serve in these roles.
I think you're doing a great job.
I agree. It's been fantastic. Even though it's been your first year, thank you for doing everything you've been doing this year. I would like it to continue.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay, can we just vote for the slate?
Yes.
All right. I'll entertain.
I move we accept the slate of chair and vice chair. Mary Faith as chair and Andrea as vice chair.
I second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
So
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yes, I have a question because we haven't done policy evaluation.
We have.
Don't we do that
My evaluation,
now?
my evaluation is not until next year
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because
because I started.
you started, that's what it was. Okay. We usually do it.
Wait, I'm not prepared.
We can have it all. Okay.
Right, yeah, next year, because I started so late, I asked that we could put off first evaluation until the 15th month or into next year.
Okay, makes sense.
And I too am very happy that you all are staying on.
Thank you.
I mean, were you saying you wanted to have an evaluation?
No,
I was just reading through those, requirements. Okay.
Did we do that?
okay. Well, then we can move on to item 5, which is information only items. And the first one is the ASTBCC report. Do we have? No, okay, all right.
Did we miss code ethics?
We did. Yep, we did. We just
I
wanted to
did.
do it.
I did now. Okay, okay.
Okay. Let's have the financial report shared.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with a little bit of summary that now that the budget is a little bit going on the back. My focus has been on the cleaning the books for the current year, including the pairs that, as you know, Kyra has been helping us and she's doing great at it. We still have some cleaning up of the health insurance and some other activities that I'm going basically to the trial balance and look at whatever that needs to be cleaned up. So my point is that, and I'm gonna talk about those specific items that I think you may have a question about. The cleaning of the books for the current year is still continuing. And yes, I know we're about to close this fiscal year, but this is the time that I can put most of my attention to it. So in terms of the revenues, I'm not gonna read any number for you. It's unless you guys want me to. But basically, we're doing good in terms of revenue. We have, as of the end of April, we have received about 83% of the expected revenue, the budgeted revenue. So on that front, I think we're doing really good. On the expenditures, April being the 10th month of the year, we expect more than 75–80% of expenses to actualize as well, but that's not the case, which is a little bit promising because if we were over and I was still doing the cleaning ups, that would have been scary. But we are under. We are by a big margin under. One of them is in the instruction expenditures that if you look at the prior year, this time we spent about 91%. Based on the things that I know about the details of the expenditures here, in this fiscal year. Part of it is pairs. We are making a lot of payments, like last week. We made some payments for several months that they added up to about $425,000 just in 1 month. So that would be reflected in the May statement. Part of it can be the pairs. Also, there are some open positions, both faculty positions and also their positions, and some other movement in personnel, and our salaries and fringes being the big part of our expenses. We can see that a couple of open positions can make a huge difference. We see the same thing in the student services, that it's the opposite. Compared to the prior year, we have spent a lot more. But if you look at the budgeted amount, is that current year's budget for the student services is also way more than the prior year budget. Without knowing all the details of what is happening, I can see that probably we had more positions or something that was added, and that's why we started with a higher budget. And percentage-wise, budget to expenditures, I feel comfortable with what I am seeing in the finances. And the same thing in plant and operation. Again, you can see that the budget was increased, so obviously there were some additional expenses expected that makes this year to the expenditures this year compared to the prior year is more. I am also looking into the transfers. That is pretty much this week and next week that I am looking into the transfers. Just to refresh your mind, are they at the like for this current year current budget, the 24-25 that we just presented? At the beginning of the year, we foresee some transfers that should happen between the funds. Some of it are happening, some are not, and I'm kind of waiting still to do the cleaning ups and see what's going on, and then see if there is a need to move the money between the funds or not. So that's why that one is also like at 50% of what we foresaw for the year. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any for me.
Thank you.
Sure.
Do we have any questions for Sharon?
I guess just confirming what you said or summarizing what you said,
Mhm.
the bulk of what you think is still needing to be cleaned up is in salaries and benefits.
Pretty much, yes.
And it's at least $500,000 should have been paid.
That should have been, but
But it was
yes, yes. Yeah, and we may have more of them coming as Kyra cleans up the page and we get the invoices as the reports get uploaded and we get invoices. And certainly a couple more large invoices to pay to in this fiscal year.
Okay. You feeling good about where we're at with the payroll taxes?
Well, I'm going to say something that I said to Paul. It was that every time that I felt that something was accomplished and I was about to have a sigh of relief, then I had to gasp again and say, okay, now I'm going to do this other one. Right now, I'm in a position that I feel like I can give the most of my attention to cleaning up this current year because for a long time we didn't have a leadership in the office, and also we were trying to do the best that we could do at the time. So that is still going to take some of my time and attention. So I'm not still at the point that I can say, okay, I'm dealing with my everyday work. But after tonight, I will feel even more relief. So yes, I do feel good about where we are.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I think Kyra was a big help.
Yeah, the text was so complicated and with their system is kind of complicated, and then with our books and whatever was happening and having different people doing payrolls and some flaws in the software and all of that, it was too complicated that if we didn't have someone like Kyra generously agreeing to help us, I don't think anybody on campus, I couldn't do it. With everything else that is going on, it would have been a lot harder. So that's great that she's taking care of hers for us.
That makes me ask a question. Are we paying Kyra?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's a nice girl, but.
As much as I don't like to spend money, but sometimes I have to.
Perfect. So I think you had told us at one point that the problems with PERS had gone on for a couple of years.
Yes,
So do you have an estimate of how much are we caught up by this point?
I want to say probably about 80% we are done. And I am going to talk to Kyra tomorrow. I'm going to have a meeting with her tomorrow, and I will know more. Maybe it's more than 80%. Definitely it's not less than 80%. But maybe it's even more than 80%. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and of course, we are planning, both me and Kylie, we're gonna go after everything is clean and we have a level ground to start. We're gonna go through some trainings and we will write instructions and make sure that we have people other than us who understand it and can be the backup, because being small, each person is wearing several different hats, very important ones. And we have to have other people who know what needs to be done, that's important, and also how it gets done. So we're planning to do that, but we are partly because of us, also partly because of Kyra. We want her to be done with everything and then bug her about training us. So, but yes, we definitely will do that as well, so.
Do you have a projection for when you get to ground zero, when you're all caught up?
Before the end of this month.
Great.
Wow.
Great.
That's what we're shooting for, yes. So we're starting in July with clean slate. So that's the plan though. But by now, you know, I'm a little bit ambitious and on the optimistic side, but I think we can manage that, yes.
Okay, terrific.
Lovely.
Yeah, very good.
Sure.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments? We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on to the business.
Great. Well, I will start this by commenting on the business office, because I think Sherry's a little hard on herself sometimes. And I'm glad you asked the question, Mary, and about where we are and how we feel we're doing. You know, you have to realize, I mean, we talked about this before, that I don't think we had really good, faithful processes and reporting and bookkeeping and all of that. We have bits and pieces, but really back since July 2022. And PERS, for example, I checked my PERS. We had an all-staff meeting last week and I checked my PERS before we went on, just so I could give an update of where they were. And mine's caught up through February of this year. So we really, in a short amount of time, they've really done. And again, you know, Kyra's really been engaged in the work with her. So, I mean, you know, we couldn't have done that without her for sure. And I'm incredibly grateful that she did that and feels, you know, still very much a part of this institution, that she's willing to do that, because it really has been meaningful. But we've also made some process improvements, I think, in payrolls, going just smoother in general, accountability of all the third-party payouts we need to make at the end. So it's really just about having enough stability to put in some processes. So I do feel that if we can get cleaned up for this year, I know Sherry's been working and her team working really hard on that, that if we can feel better about starting off a new fiscal year next month with some practices in place, not staring at a 20-month hole of work. I mean, it really will do a lot, I think, for morale both in that office and I think just in general around campus, to have a little bit more faith in our practices. And I should point out, all of that's been done. I mean, we started an audit in December. We started budgeting in January. I mean, and we're doing all of this with down, you know, 2 staff members in the business office. So it really has taken not only the business office, but people around the business office helping out, from Aaron to Lori to Kylie to Cheryl to whoever, just to really kind of pull us forward. And they've done a remarkable job doing that. So I owe them a lot for that. And they've done a good amount of work, and I really appreciate that. So thank you all. So other news, a few things. I mean, you may have heard by now. I'm just kind of looking since our last meeting. It seems like it's been a long time now, but we did officially have a construction company, Kirby Nagelhout. They came in on budget, which is really good. They are so eager to get started. We have our hearing with the Planning Commission Thursday evening. And if everything goes well with that, we're really hoping by the middle of this month, we'll start to see some earthwork happening across the way over there. We'll probably start fencing in the construction zone next week, just to kind of get ready for all of that. We have some meetings scheduled with some community stakeholders just to talk about the impact on the community. We know there's going to be an impact on our operations, but we want to make sure we have that all mitigated. Parking is going to be the biggest issue for us, and we're really trying to work on some plans to help mitigate parking, and certainly to be able to keep our commitment with the fairgrounds about minimal impact on them during Fair Week in particular. So we're moving forward with that. Real excited about that. Couldn't be happier with the construction company. Seemed like a really good crowd, and have done some work up and down the coast. So looking forward to moving that along. Also making progress on the CIT design and construction. We're putting the final documents together right now to go out to bid. Probably no later than the middle of July. We'll be able to put that out there to bid, and hope we get some good interest in that, both from Legal Health and anybody else that might be interested in that. Really good for that. We've had some meetings here on campus, a variety of things. We've talked about construction issues. We've had some guided pathways people here talking about some work with our dual credit students. Actually, I guess we didn't do dual credit. We talked about CG 100 and kind of first year experience kinds of things. We talked about early interventions and things to really increase our ability to provide just-in-time support and services to students as they need them. I'm happy to mention that at our all-staff meeting, which a couple of you came to, it was really great. We did we had our inaugural Excellence in Action Awards that the Employee Engagement Committee put together, and Nicole Clark was chosen as our non-exempt Excellence in Action awardee for this year. She is responsible for most of our instructional design and technology work that we have here. She's been really good there. And you all may know Claire Savatka is our Library and Learning Services Director. She was chosen as our exempt employee, and it just was really nice to see both of them chosen, because they function very quietly, calmly, sort of behind the scenes, and to have them recognized by so many of us, really great. The comments, I didn't write down the stats, but we had over half of our employees participated in nominating people. We had over 30 people nominated, and it was just a really a good time. And so I'm very, very proud of both of those. And then we had a end of the year barbecue after that. And if anybody wants a barbecue that takes 50 minutes to cook a hamburger, you can have it, because it seems like we were here forever waiting for the hamburger. But at any rate, we'll fix that for next year. But that was a lot of fun too, to have everybody together for that. Interesting conversations at our May OPC meeting. There's a lot of conversation among the presidents about teacher qualifications. In higher education, heck, there's language in statute that outlines for community colleges what the minimum qualifications must be for faculty. In particular, it outlines, for example, in a transfer discipline like math, you have to have a master's in math or a master's in biology to teach biology. There is no such language for the universities. And I believe that the HEC probably put that language in there at some point because they felt that there's no way that community colleges could know what it means to have qualified faculty. So they had to tell us so for some reason. But there is a push by OPC to have those qualifications or have that language be the same for both. In particular, we feel that it's important that the Oregon public universities be held to the same standards and statute that we are. And the reason that we want that instead of us being held to their standards is that it really impacts dual credit offerings. Right now, schools like Western Oregon or OIT they can go in and just give a high school teacher, whatever, that has whatever qualifications they have, they can give them qualifications to deliver their college credit. Whereas for us, they need to have the minimum qualifications we have, which is a master's degree, or they have to be part of a sponsored dual credit program where they're part of a community of practice and they receive coaching and mentoring. There is an insane obscene amount of credit that is awarded by Western Oregon and OIT to our students without consideration of the work that I think we could do for our students. And so we're really looking at the implications of this to dual credit and leveling sort of the playing field there, but more importantly, putting folks in charge of dual credit that actually have the best interests of the students of our communities in mind when we do that. So I feel pretty passionate about that work, and it'll be interesting to see that move forward there. Again, more conversation about how we're going to frame the ask next year during the biennial, the long session. It's going to be hard. We did an estimate that it would take about 20% more to be able to deliver current service levels. I think that's an unrealistic ask. So we're trying to figure out how to frame that. The governor has indicated to each of the units that they're not to ask for anything more than a 1% increase. We know that won't hold ultimately when the legislative analyst office gets a hold of the budget and actually comes up with the joint budget there. But we're probably going to look at figuring out how to ask for somewhere in a 9 to 10% increase in current service level commitment for the next biennium. I think actually for TBCC, we're in pretty good shape as far as what we would need to maintain. It's not as much as the statewide average, but some of the larger schools really have some increases coming their way next year that are going to hit them hard with a very challenging labor negotiation years. And so I think that they're really looking at some challenges making budgets next year. We did hire executive director for OCCA, Abby Lee. Abby was the vice president of communications, government relations for Treasure Valley Community College. So look forward for her coming on board. And Betsy, I don't know, do you have anything you want to add from regards to OCCA and anything happening there?
You're muted, Betsy.
Sorry, I was muted because there's some noise in my household here. I'm with my grandchildren, sorry. But just to say that I did send out to everyone OCCA Board of Directors meeting takeaways, so that these are some of the highlights that have been happening in the OCCA in the last month. And yes, we do have a new executive director, and there are new OCCA officers and executive board committee elected also. And one thing, as part of the board meeting, representatives from Lynn Benton Community College's Civil Discourse Program, and this is included in the information that I sent to everybody, including several students, provided a workshop on how they navigate and promote dialogue that enhances understanding among individuals with diverse viewpoints in an open and respectful environment. It was beautifully presented, and there's some information on that in the attachment that I sent to all the board members. So that's about all I have to say right this second.
Yeah, that was an interesting, the program at Lynn Benton.
It was great.
Was really, really interesting. And they brought a couple students that talked to the board about it. And these were students who previously would have said that there's no way they could get in people and speak, and certainly not in over controversial or in a confrontative manner. So it was really, really entertaining.
Right.
So,
it's great.
So Betsy, I'd just like to thank you for representing us with OCCA and thank you for the reports that you've sent.
Oh,
Which
great.
they're very informative and helpful, and when I read them, I am grateful for your service, and I always feel like I know a little bit more than I did before I read them.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, well, I'm learning a ton of information and everything, so I just feel it's important to share it with my wonderful board, all of you.
And they do love Betsy. In fact, tried to get her to serve as an officer on the board, but she couldn't commit to it because of some travel plans next year. But she
Well,
does-
yeah, this fall. Yeah, right. Unfortunate. Yeah, they asked me to be vice president, which maybe next year. They said, okay, next year for sure. So I'll be next year. There you go.
Good. Couple other things I wanted to mention. At some point next year, we'll bring a presentation in front of the board around some changes that are occurring with Tillamook Education Consortium, especially as it aligns with apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship in the area. We will be moving some of that organizational structure over to TBCC. TBCC will be taking a greater role in managing of that operation and also of our Perkins grants and things. So looking forward to that. And at a later date, we'll bring you some updated information there. And just want to mention a couple things about the month of June. It is Pride Month. Really important that we recognize the impact that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals have had on history, both locally, nationally, and internationally. It is a result of the Stonewall Uprising. If you aren't familiar with that, read up on that. It's a very interesting story there and part of history about that happened in late June in 1969, where Stonewall Inn, which was opened as interestingly enough, a gay nightclub by the Genovese family in New York to illegally serve alcohol, but regardless, it was a site of I think 4 or 5 evenings of unrest that ultimately led to this being recognized as Pride Month. And so think about that this month if you have occasion. Also, the college will be closed on June 19th in observation of Juneteenth. That's recognized as our second Independence Day. It is the day in 1865 when the Union Army arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas. There were still 250,000 enslaved Black people in Texas on that date. And finally, they were freed on that date. And that was over 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation actually took effect. So hopefully while we have that day off, we'll spend some time remembering that too. That's a very important part of our history there. Couple other things coming up, end of year celebration this Wednesday at 4. If you would like to come, we'll be recognizing students for their fine achievements. And while we crowned, if you will, the Excellence in Action Awards for other employees, the Teaching Excellence of the Year Award will be announced and given on that day there by nominated by our students and voted in by our students. Graduation Friday, June 14th at the fairgrounds, 5:30?
Yes.
5:30. If you plan on coming, let us know. Some of you have already let us know. And if you're not going to come, just let us know so we know not to expect you there, and we won't hound you anymore.
So where do you want us? Yeah, because we're having it.
We'll let you know. We haven't quite decided. When we get a little closer, we're going to check the weather. We would love to meet here and kind of wander over. But
Yeah.
if it's too far of a walk, we just have people meet us over.
Okay, I may need to.
That's,
Are the students all gonna, the
We
long
have-
line of these?
I'm not sure if they want to or.
Right, we haven't, we're still trying to get
Yeah.
them to. And so, yeah, we have about 47 degree seekers, and so we have about 60 total that are PA, so we're trying to figure it out. If it's a lovely day, it might be easier for them to go up here and walk across. Obviously, in the pouring rain, they're not gonna walk it, so we're kind of, well, yeah, we will have a space set up in the back of the barn with some pipe and drape so that students can gown it behind us, they won't be in the middle of the room.
Because we could just do a kind of outside around it like we've done here before.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if it's a lovely day, I'd love to do that.
yeah, we will probably do a processional somehow line up over near there, and however people get there, we'll figure that out, but we'll let you know. We have a smaller stage this year, so we're going to be a little bit different in how we've got the stage organized. We won't have anybody really on the stage except people that are speaking or receiving awards, and then we'll have designated seating for dignitaries and the like down alongside the stage. We will not see, I mean, I hope we see each other, but we will not see each other as a board until Monday, September 9th. And that's at 5 p.m. for the board meeting, but we do have the retreat prior to that in the day. So we'll be working on it.
Four, we said.
And we do start the board meeting at 4. You're correct. Yeah, the board meeting will be at 4. That's our plan.
Your date up here about the PEC commission.
Yeah.
That's wrong because December 7th is a Saturday.
Oh,
It's December 2nd is our
thank
board.
you. Sorry.
Yeah, just.
Sevens look like 2s. December
I'm gonna
2nd.
Put it in there with appointment.
Yeah.
What
That's
is
fine.
June date, June 21st for the groundbreaking,
Oh,
1
yeah.
to 2
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah.
Thank you.
1 o'clock, we'll have groundbreaking, and then I'll just end with some recognitions of some folks. I mean, obviously, student services, facilities, and advancement teams have been eagerly planning graduation. It's starting to come together. I think might have been a little nervous for just a little bit of time there, but it's looking pretty good. I don't know if you all have had the opportunity to meet Saya Kennedy yet or not. She's part of Britta's team. She has been working pretty diligently on the groundbreaking ceremony planning and whatever. So shout out to her for that. As you know, this last month was our self-care month, and we had lots of activities. Angel Kavanaugh led a dance class, and if you participated, there were a bunch of us that participated in the dance class. That was a lot of fun. Tom Wolf gave one on meditation. Bailey Butel on how did she phrase it? It was trauma-informed professionalism.
That one actually is gonna happen tomorrow.
Oh, good. That's
We did a different one, and I can't recall off the top of my head right now what she did 2 in May, but her sister had a baby, so she had to reschedule one.
Oh, that's priorities, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the events committee has done a good job at organizing those things. Our theme of the month, this month coming is communication. And so we've got some activities planned around more effective communication, respectful communication and the like. And I wanted to just give a special thank you to Lori. She's done a lot of work on the budget book development and organization for that. Despite the fact that I do not contribute positively to her sanity, she has helped me maintain my own. So I appreciate you, Lori. Such as all you do. So that concludes my report. Sorry for going.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions or comments for Paul?
Oh, wait, no, groundbreaking, is that?
1 o'clock on the 21st, that's a Friday, and we will have a gathering of some folks. Is it before or after? After.
After, yeah. No, look at the samples up close, the finishes for the building and just sit with everyone.
Yeah, we're starting to plan where and how it's going to be over there, but we may have an active construction site by then, so we might be wearing hard hats.
Okay.
We were
Yeah.
asked before and each had a shovel.
Yeah, we
We've got the golden shovels and the brand new hard hats.
we have them, you approved them in the budget.
Yeah, they're solid gold shovels. They're spray paint shovels and utilize afterwards. We're not wasteful.
Yeah, but do we get to take the shovels home?
I think when we did this.
That's one thing, home, yeah, okay.
Wow.
Okay, do we have any board member concerns or discussion items? No? Anything else? Well, it's my favorite month at the college. I so look forward to graduation. I love TBCC graduation.
Yeah.
It is very moving.
It is.
Lovely and heartfelt. So I'm looking forward to that and also the groundbreaking. And then we'll have a break and not see each other for July or August.
Wow.
Okay.
Is there a speaker at the graduation?
We chose this year to not go with a speaker. We instead have a few folks connected to the college that will be speaking shorter speeches, and we asked 4 students this year to speak.
Great.
Students anyway. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the more students, the better.
Exactly. I love the students.
Yeah, and we're having the faculty of the year from last year, we'll give a opening too, so the faculty are representative, and that's per statement too. So
Good, thanks.
more folks, shorter speeches.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, we are adjourned at 6:04 PM.
Wow. I'll miss you all.
Being such so tiring.
Bye, Betsy. Have fun with the grandkids.
Hey, have a great summer, everyone. But see you at the groundbreaking and at graduation, of course. Bye-bye. Thank you, Paul.
Yes, I'm gonna ask you a question on this. So the items that you have, do I not have to write it down? So,
You know what? I think I can make it quicker.